Looking back at my previous video, I discovered that there was a glitch in my screencast program. Made it look like I was writing on top of something I had already written, and I apologize for that. But since it was just one short thing, I didn't think it was worth redoing the whole video for, especially since we're going to be doing those exact same type of things in this video. So, this is just going to be examples of how to use the guess and check method, and I wrote up here a concise reference that we're going to be referring to. So if you don't understand where I got this, then go back and watch the previous video. That's where I discussed it. So let's go ahead and clear off this. This is what examples are going to be in the video in this order. But let's go ahead and clear it off so that we can go ahead and do those examples. So let's do example number 1. 3x squared plus 16x minus 35. Okay, so what we want to do is we have it in this form. We want to put it in this form. That's what we're supposed to be factoring it. Let's put in the instructions. Factor 3x squared plus 16x minus 35. And to do that, we want to find out what m and p will make a. So that we're going to get this into some form. And I'm not going to write this every time, but mx plus n times p x plus q. So m times p is going to equal 3, and n times q, because n times q will equal negative 35, so n times q equals negative 35. And mq plus np will equal b, which will equal 16. Okay, so we do this doing guess and check. So, what two things when multiplied together make 3 for m and p? So our first guess will be, for m and p, will be m equals, I'm going to say 1, and p equals 3. And I actually don't know, I'm figuring this out on my own as well. I don't know what the answer is going to be yet. So if this turns out to be the correct guess, then I'll be surprised. And then n equals what two things multiply together to make 35? Well, 5 and 7 do, so we'll have one of them be negative. So negative 5 q equals 7. Let's multiply these two things together and see if they work out. So 1, 7, so this is m times q, that's a q, not an a, m times q, 1 times 7, plus, let's start with n first, negative 5 times 3. So this is going to be 7 minus 35 equals, so that'll be, it'll be not 16 is what it's not going to be. It's going to be a negative 28. Yeah, negative 28. So that is not going to work then, because this does not equal 28. So these are all prime numbers, so all I can do is mix up the order. So let's try, instead of, I'm going to try mixing up these two. So I'll have m equals 3 and p equals 1, because we still need m times p to equal 3. So then I'll keep this the same. N equals negative 5 and q equals 7. So that means we'll have 3 times 7 plus negative 5 times 1. 3 times 7 is 21 minus 5, well, that just happens to be 16. And 16 is our b. So this is the correct set of variables. So I'm going to clear that off and write it out. You know what? I'm going to do it on a new line actually. So I'm going to say 3x squared plus 16x minus 35. And so I had this on top of that. I'll go ahead and clear that. Whoops! I did not mean to have that x. Did not mean to have that capital X. My caps lock is on. No wonder. Okay, and let's clear that off because we're done with that now. We don't need it anymore. And we have that m is equal to 3. And I'm going to have to clear this off too. M is going to be the first one, so 3x minus 5, and x, p is just going to be 1, so it's just going to be x plus 7. So 3x minus 5 and x times x plus 7. Okay, so now let's go ahead and clear that off, and we'll double check this. Make sure it's the right thing. And so I'll do that down here. 3x minus 5 times x plus 7. So 3x times x will equal 3x squared. 3x times 7 will give you plus 21x. And then negative 5x minus 35. Combine like terms, we'll get 3x squared 3x squared plus 16x minus 35. And that is the problem that we were originally given. So we know we most likely did it right. So that means that this is going to be our final answer. Let's clear that off. This is going to be our final answer. So let's we'll box that, and that'll be that. Now let's go on to the next example. And I'll go ahead and clear this part off to get to it. So let's say we have 8x squared plus 14x plus 6. We want to factor this out. So we want to first find, I'm not going to write the equals mx plus n out over here. So we want to find m, here I'll make this lower, that way I'm going to have to write it down again, it won't conflict. mp equals 8. 8 is equal to a because it's the leading term. Nq is equal to 6, and mq plus np is equal to 14. Just so you know, when you do the guess and check, one thing that you could do is actually guess in the actual factoring process. I don't like to do that, but it works out the exact same way. Like you'll just, instead of doing this part here, you'll just do like 2 and 4, and then 3 and 2, and then check it that way. Either way, it will work just fine. I like to do it this way. I think it's more organized, but whichever way you want to do is just fine. I'm not going to do any examples of that since I don't like it, but we don't need to. So mp equals 8. So we'll say what things can multiply together to make 8. Well, m could be 2 and p could be 4. These are the only two numbers that you can, two whole numbers that you can multiply together to make 8. So if this does not turn out to be the correct answer, then we'll just have to mix these two up. It'll be 4 and 2. And in Q, we'll guess that to be 2 and 3. I don't mean to keep picking things that can only be multiplied together two different ways. Hopefully, I don't know if the next one's like that or not, but at any rate. And then, so then we can guess that by guess to see if that works, to see 2 times 3. And I don't know what it is. I don't know what the answer is going to be, so I don't know if this is going to work or not. So we have 6 plus 8, which is going to be 14. Wow, that actually did work. I'm a little bit surprised. It's unusual that the first time it works, but you know, if it works, it works. That's good. So that means that this is going to be equal to we have what M in P and Q are, so it's going to be 2x plus 2 times 4x plus 3. And we go ahead and double check that. Let's clear this off. And actually, no, we don't need to clear this off because we've got plenty of room over here. So I'll put a divider here. So we have 2x plus 2, 4x plus 3. And so we have 2x times 4x, so that'll give us 8x squared. And then 2x times 3, that'll give us plus 6x. And then 2 times 4x will give us plus 8x. Then 2 times 3, well, it does not look like an x. 2 times 3 will give us plus 6. I need to write that bigger next time. I'll do it bigger down here. So this is going to be 8x squared plus 14x plus 6. And that is the answer, the problem we were originally given. So that means we're pretty sure we did it right. So that means 2x plus 2, this will be our final answer. 2x plus 2 times 4x plus 3. Alright, so let's go ahead and clear that off. And we'll go to the next problem. That will be 18x squared minus 45x plus 7. 18x squared minus 45x plus 7. So, as usual, we want to find the MP is equal to 18. Okay, and that's kind of a rough one. That could be 6 and 3, or it could be 2 and 9. I don't know what it's going to be yet. So then we want an NQ. That doesn't look like much like a Q. NQ to be equal to 7. Okay, well that's easy because 7's a prime number. One has to be 1, the other has to be 7. So let's assume for a minute that let's assume that M is equal to 2 and P is equal to 9. We might be in for a bumpy ride. This one might take a while since there's different ways that you can combine to make 18. So then that N equals 1 and Q equals 7. And that's just the way trial and error work. It works. It can take a long time sometimes. So 2 times 7 plus oh, wait. No? Okay. Never mind. Something's not right. Because this needs to be negative to make this part negative here. So N and Q. Okay, I can't believe I forgot how to do this. Just give me a second. So that means N and Q need to be okay. Both of these things still need to be positive, but we need to have. I'm glad I caught this before we went too much further. So these two things need to. Either these two things are going to both be negative. No. Ignore this. These will not be negative. That means if we have a plus here and a minus here, then these two bottom terms must be negative. N and Q must be negative. You're not going to have, just because it's not really common to have, actually, I guess you could have it just these two be negative, but it's just going to be one or the other. Okay, so let's, I kind of wish now I had mentioned that in the previous video. So if this is positive and this is negative, then your N and your Q will both be negative. If this is negative and this is negative, then it's not going to be much more difficult to notice, because of the way it works out. It'll still, because you'll have a plus and a negative, it'll still work out the same way, but you'll have you'll be able to see it more easily. So I'm glad I noticed that. N and Q must be negative for them to multiply together to make a positive, and then to add together to make a negative. Okay, so 2 times negative 7 plus negative 1 times 9. So that's going to be negative 14 minus 9. It's going to give you negative 23. Negative 23 is not this middle term, so this does not work. Let's try it again. Let's try switching the 2 and the 9. So M is equal to 9 and P is equal to 2. And N is equal to negative 1, negative 1, and Q is equal to negative 7. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be a long one, so just bear that in mind. So this is a different trial. So 9 times negative 7 plus negative 1 times 2. This is going to be negative 63. This is going to be minus 2. So we're going to have minus 65. So this does not work. Let's see if I can squeeze another trial right over here. So let's try switching these two out then. So M equals 9. P equals 2, N equals negative 7, and Q equals negative 1. Okay, so negative 1 times 9 plus 2 times negative 7. So that's negative 9 minus 14. Equals, and that's going to be negative 23. That is also, did I already do that? I don't know what I just did here, but, okay. Well, it has the same result as over here. Oh, I see why. Oh, actually that was stupid for me to even try that, but it doesn't matter, because that's what trial and error is about. You know, you try it, doesn't work, you move on. So, I'm willing to bet that if we now switch these two back, you would have the exact same problem. You'd probably have negative 65 again. So let's try something besides 2 and 9. What else can multiply together to make 18? Well, 6 and 3. So let's try M is equal to 6. Here, I'll try to make as much room as we can. M is equal to 6, P is equal to 3, N is equal to negative 1, and Q is equal to negative 7. So 6 times negative 7 plus negative 1 times 3. Okay, so this is going to be negative 42 minus 3 equals negative 45. So that's it. That is B. So that means that this set works. This set of variables works. So we know that M is going to be 6, N is going to be negative 1, P is going to be 3, and Q is going to be negative 7. So let's go ahead and write that out that way. So, whoops, what did I do wrong here? Sorry. That error shows up whenever I type something wrong into the coder, the markup language. So that means we have oh shoot. Okay. Okay, I mixed it up at first. Okay, so that means we're going to have that. This whole thing is equal to mx, so 6x minus 1 times 3x minus 7. Alright, so now we double check it. So let's clear all this off, make doubly sure that the program won't glitch, because that was a long one. We don't want to do that again. And let's go ahead and multiply this out. Make sure we have it right. So once again, making sure that the program does not glitch and make me write on top of something that I've already written. So 6x minus 1 times 3x, that doesn't look much like a parentheses, does it? 3x minus 7. 6x times 3x will give you 18x squared. 6x minus times negative 7 will get you negative 42 squared. Not squared, negative 42x. Arithmetic is my Achilles heel. I'm always slow at it, so that's what happens. Negative 3x plus 7, because negative 1 times negative 7 equals 18. Well, it does not look like an 8. 18x squared. Combine these like terms, minus 45x plus 7. And that matches what we were given originally. So that means that this is going to be our final answer. 6x minus 1 times 3x minus 7. Okay, I knew that was going to be a trip because there are different ways to combine to make 18. So, I will see you in the next video, which is grouping. Grouping is faster but more difficult. I'll see you then.